Hey y'all, what it is, what is up, welcome back to my channel. If you are here, then you are interested in the top 10 books that I would like to finish before the year ends. And if you're interested in that, stick around and I'll get more into it. Okay, hey everyone. So I did a video at the beginning of the year talking about all my reading goals or goals for my channel. We'll see. I might link it, I might not link it. If I do link it, it's going to be up above. But one of my goals was to read 60 books before the end of this year. I think last year I read 40 something books. And right now I'm pretty much reading on par with what I read last year. So I'm going to have to, beef it up in order to make the push to get to my goal. Because currently I'm at 31 books. So to get me to my goal, I pulled 10 books from my shelf that I really want to make sure that I read before the year ends. And also it'll just be a nice little push to get me to the extra 29, I'm just gonna say 30, the extra 30 books I need to read before the year ends. So let's not waste any more time. I do have one honorable mention, which is probably the first book I'm going to mention. So first, my honorable mention. My honorable mention is I'm currently reading Chain Gang All-Stars. So I'm just going to throw this on the list of books that I want to finish before the end of the year. I'm actually quite further because I'm like 130 pages in, but I started listening to the audiobook because I'm also reading this for a book club and I only have a week left to read this. So I had to push myself to read these last like 300 pages because I think this book is like 400 some pages. But so far, I'm gonna hold my thoughts because this is probably gonna come up in a wrap up. But yeah, currently reading Chain Gang All-Stars, honorable mention for books I want to finish before the year ends. Okay, now on to the actual 10 books. The first one I have, you've seen this in a haul. Most of these books are books that I received from the publisher and I got in PR. So just, to give that caveat. So the first book I have is The Blueprint by Regina Rashad. And this one is kind of like a Handmaid's Tale story. It's a story about, I'm gonna actually read the cover because I'm now learning as I do more videos. I suck at summaries, unless I've read the book. I always get it wrong. So Salome Bonnet lives in Texas where choice no longer exists. An algorithm determines a Black woman's occupation, spouse, and residence. Solène, I think it's Salome or Solène, takes solace in penning the biography of Henriette, an ancestor who's been an enslaved concubine to a wealthy planter in 1800s Louisiana. But history repeats itself when Salome, lonely and naive, becomes entangled with Bastien Martin, a high-ranking government official. Solène finds the psychological bond unbearable, so she considers alternatives. With Henriette as her guide, she must decide whether and how to live behind all she knows. Inspired by the lives of enslaved concubines to United States politicians and planters, The Blueprint unfolds over dual timelines to explore bodily autonomy, hypocrisy, and power imbalances through the lens of the nation's most unprotected, a Black female. But yeah, I really want to read this before the year goes out, so we'll see if that happens. But the next book I have is another one that I got in PR. This is Triumph of the Yuppies by Tom McGrath. This is nonfiction, or like, what do you call these kind of like essays that kind of whatever. But this is about the subculture of yuppies during the 1980s, when the generation of the boomers, now they're in the workforce and there's like this technological boom of like the 80s and I guess the first technological boom of the 80s, and it pretty much talks about America. It says it right here. It talks about America, the 80s, and the creation of unequal nation through the lens of this culture of yuppies, which is like pretty much white-collared, middle-class Americans. How do you describe the yuppies? But yeah, I'm actually really excited to read this one. it might be the media communication studies major in me that I love like the study of like culture and like subculture, especially when you do it through like a lens of like of economy, or just the way that the thought of policy and things of America or any type of nation was shaped through the lens of like a subculture or a cultural movement. Yeah. So this is very interesting to me, and I'm very excited to read it before the end of the year. Next book. This book, I went to, actually the next two books, I went to a book event. It was a book event of the awarding of the author Jasmine Ward, and there was like they read some of Jasmine Ward's work, and then also there was some other authors there that read their work, and I ended up picking up one of the authors, Susan Muadi Daraj, and she did a reading from her book Behind You is the Sea, and this is, I'm not going to read the inside cover of this one, but this follows like three Palestinian families and pretty much them navigating the United States as immigrants. The reading that she did, the section that she did, was insightful, funny, also having like an immigrant parent. It's somewhat relatable. Like, yeah, it's just, I'm very excited to read this one. I'm going to say that about all of them, how I'm excited to read the book. But I also got a signed copy, which is always fun when you can get a signed copy of a book. The next book I have, again, I went to this event awarding Jasmine Ward, but Let Us Descend, I finally picked it up, and I'm glad I picked it up at this moment. I have seen this book so many times, and I picked it up and put it down so many times, and I think it was serendipitous that I bought it when I bought it, because I was able to get a signed copy from Jasmine, which made my day. And I told her I wish I had bought my Salvage the Bone, but I did not bring any of my books. I was so upset. And you'll see it in my wrap up, but I ended up rereading Salvage the Bone right before this event. Here we go. So I got a nice, y'all can't see, but I ended up getting it signed by her as well. So I was very happy about that. And you're gonna see Let Us Descend in a wrap up very soon, because I'm already on a Jasmine Ward kick. Next, this book, another essay, I consider it nonfiction book. Another book that I got, I guess this part of the video is all the books that I got from book events. So I went to another book chat for this, and it is The Book of Juju by Jujube. I know her off of Instagram, but she talks about like African spirituality, and pretty much, yeah, African spirituality and healing in that respect. So she wrote a book, about her work, and I went to the bookstore. There's a bookstore like down the street from where I live, and I usually like see their events and stuff like that, and they were having an event with her talking about her new release. I think I got this book on the day it was released, and this is just a side note, I love hardcovers without the book jacket on it. Like, this is my favorite. Bring these back. And why are these cheaper than the ones with the book jacket on it? Anyway, so yeah, this book is just, again, I think it's a memoir in respects, because it's going through Jujube's life, but also it's talking about her relationship with African spirituality and self-discovery. It says it here. I'm about to literally say what this book says. It says African spirituality for healing, liberation, and self-discovery. And it's pretty much written in like, yeah, a pretty memoir-esque way, talking about her relationship with African spirituality, and yeah, just how she's used it through, loss and finding herself. And I'm very excited to read The Book of Juju. Also because, yeah, there is I'm gonna save this for when I read the book because I have comments. We're out of the books I got from events. Now we're back into PR books. So the next book I have that I want to read before the end of the year is The Sun Sets in Singapore, and this one I've had for a minute. Just cover my face. I've had this one for a minute. I really want to finish this one before the end of the year. And it's by Kende Fadipe. And I'm going to read the inside jacket so I can give justice to the summary. So for Dara, a workaholic lawyer from the UK, Singapore is opportunity. Every day, brokering deals for her firm's wealthy clientele, she gets closer to her ultimate goal, making partner. For Amaka, a sharp-tongued banker from Nigeria, Singapore is extravagance. Gucci, Prada, Hermes. She loves nothing more than to luxuriate in the major department stores that call her name on Orchard Road. And for Lillian, a former pianist turned trailing spouse from the US, Singapore is reinvention. In a stunning apartment with 360 views, the island seems to glitter as far as the eye can see. But complications are looming in the form of an enigmatic stranger whose presence exposes cracks in Singapore's begulging veneer. Dara's insecurities are threatening to derail the promotion she spent the past 6 years striving for. Amaka is hiding a spiraling shopping addiction that's endangering her very ease of self. And while Lillian's life may be the envy of outsiders, a new obsession is imperiling everything and everyone around her. And The Sun Sets in Singapore, Kende, I think it's Fadipe, captures the richness of this metropolis through the eyes of three tenacious women who are about to learn that unfinished history can follow you anywhere, no matter how far you run from home. So, we'll see. Hopefully it's not giving, was the Lagos wife? I did not enjoy I did not enjoy that. And then anytime Jenna says read with her, Jenna, you be letting me down, girl. But we gonna see. I'm still gonna read it. We're gonna see how this goes. Okay, this book I don't even think has released yet. Maybe it has by now. When I got it, the book hadn't released yet. Okay, this is B. Bandele. And this book is Yoruba Boy Running. That's the only thing. This is a proof, so when it came in the mail, it was all like rumpled and wrinkled. But this one has a long back. Okay, let's read it. When Malian slave traders invaded the Nigerian tower of Oshogun, 13-year-old Ajayi's life is split in two. Before there was his childhood, surrounded by friends and family, washed over by the ancient Yoruba gods of forest and water, earth and sky. After there was capture, slavery, and eventually release. With Ajayi's left transfigured, unrecognizable, and now in the service of a new god with a new name in a culture different from the one left far behind, Ajayi becomes Samuel Crowther, missionary, linguist, minister, and later abolitionist, driven to negotiate against his own people to end the evil trade in human beings that destroyed his family and transformed his own life. Girl, you can tell once you start reading on camera a little bit, the reading starts to get a little wonky. But okay, moving on to the next book. This one I'm actually really excited to read. I probably bought like a month or two ago. But yeah, I went to New York and I went to Cafe Con Libros, and I bought 2 books. One of them I've already read it, but I still just need to do my wrap up, so that's why y'all not seeing it here. But yeah, I got Little Rock by Akwaeke Emezi. And I'm a little nervous about reading this book because I've heard this book is good, but Akwaeke, you have to be in the mood, but I think this one, I'm just going to read the inside cover before I give the wrong description. But I know it's like multiple stories, kind of giving like Speed, Amores Perros. I always bring up Amores Perros and Speed, but like that dual perspective, and they're all connected by one event. I believe that this story is written in that fashion. But the inside cover. Ima and Kalu are a longtime couple who have just split. When Kalu, reeling from the breakup, visits an exclusive sex party hosted by his best friend, Ahmed, he makes a decision that will plunge them all into chaos, brutality, and suddenly upending their lives. Ola and Soraya, two Nigerian sex workers visiting from Kuala Lumpur, collide into the scene just as everything goes to hell. Sucked into the city's corrupt and glittering underworld, they're all looking for a way out, fueled by a desperate need to escape the dangerous threat that looms over them. Yeah, so this one sounds super interesting, and I've heard nothing but actually good things about the book. Like, people have really enjoyed it. So, and isn't the cover cute? This is a really cute cover, so I'm very excited to read this one. Next book. This one I got in PR. This is God Bless You, Otis Spunkmeyer. This is another one with a pretty cover. I'm going to read the inside of this one. This one, ooh, this is a long inside. Y'all, we got to keep these brief. Okay, after a deployment in the Iraq War with an all-male army unit, Joseph would like to find his footing and perhaps even more so bask in the former glory of the lightly chilled chocolate chip Otis Spunkmeyer muffins once doled out en masse to hungry soldiers desperate for that luxurious mouthfeel. Now a doctoral student at the university and an EMS worker at the hospital in North Philly, he encounters round-the-clock friends and family from his past life and would be future desperate for succor at his job, a job which he seems unable to ever leave, including contemporaries of his estranged father, a man he knows a little about, serving time at Holmesburg Prison. Meanwhile, he and his homie Ray contemplate the return to a civilian life that seems hardly less militarized. Locked into their own rhythm of lust, heartbreak, and responsibilities everyone is dying to cast off. Balancing the joys and frustrations of single fatherhood, his studies, and ceaseless shifts at the hospital, Joseph becomes closer than he had ever imagined to his own father. Joseph, a fictional character eerily similar to the author, considers an outside to his own family life and history that may never be, while weighing the cost of conformity against internal fury and his growing opposition to friends and colleagues. God Bless You, Otis Spunkmeyer is a powerful examination of everyday Black life, of health and sex, race and punishment, and the gaps between our desires and our politics. I think that last note about the gap between our desires and our politics, I'm excited to read this one. The last book in my 10 books. The Devil is Fine. This one is actually I'm the most excited to read. I got this like at the beginning of the year and I still have not touched it. But I'm going to read it and you're going to get an in-depth review from me. And this book is actually about a man who, I think he was estranged from his father. Yeah, so the character loses his son, and he's like grieving and reeling from that. But then he receives a letter from an attorney from his estranged grandfather that he has this plot of land that he's inherited. So he travels a bunch of hours to go to this land. And when he gets there, he not only has to process grief, but also gripe with the fact, because the character's biracial, but like this land I think used to be a plantation. Yes, it was a former plantation. So the land used to be a former plantation, and his estranged grandfather is white. So he has to contend with the grief of loss and also like this history that he's connected to within his family. So yeah, The Devil is Fine. That's the last book. Again, all of these were pretty heavy, so maybe I'll do one of like my Kindle, like what I want to read in my Kindle before the year ends, because I have a bunch of Kindle reads that I want to read, because there's also like two kinds of videos that I want to do before the year goes out. I really want to do a video recommending slow burn romances, but like from Black indie authors. So I've been trying to read through those. If you know any good Black indie authors that do slow burn, put it in the comments so I can also add it to my list and I can read it. But yeah, I want to do that video. And there's one video that I've been wanting to do since last year on college, like new adult Black college books, themed books, probably in the romance category. But yeah, that's another one that I've like, there's a bunch of books that I want to read that I just keep putting on the back burner because there's so many books I want to read and there's only got 2 eyes, okay, and a limited amount of time. So that is all. We can continue our conversation down in the comments. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned, specifically Little Rat, because I've watched some reviews and people are like, oh girl, it was a time, but it was really good. And I just want to know that if you didn't like, did I like You May Have Full of Death with Your Beauty? I think I did. I did, because I recommended to people if you want something that's like a little bit scandalous, a little bit salacious. But yeah, if you like that book, did you like Little Rat? If you didn't like that book, did you or did you not like Little Rat? You know, these are questions that I have. But until the next time, y'all, deuces.